And now this is very important topic that all are saying about third wave, and third wave, and we are very scared about that third wave. So what are the facilities we need to plan to combat this likely third wave? I request Dr. Bhushan Dev, who has done his MBBS from BJMC and MD from KEM Pune. He was gold medalist, university topper, and now is professor at RMC Loni. His guide and MD examiner, has many publications on his credit. He has developed UG teaching module also, and is consultant pediatrician at Srirampur. So, Dr. Bhushan Dev, I request you to start your deliberation.
Yeah. So am I audible?
Yes, yes, clearly.
Yeah. So after a lot of clinical stuff, now we are coming to the PSM part of our COVID management. And but I'm sure I'll not bore you. My presentation is very short, and you will enjoy that. So pediatric population is, our students are always, our patients are already bored with this COVID. They have not visited their schools and not having their social life at all. So let us hope. So now I'm going to talk about planning facilities to combat third wave. This is the last lecture of our symposium. So when we are going to plan for the facilities, we have to plan at individual level, at government level, and at social level. So we have to take the three prongs approach. So we all know that according to Government of India, we have three kinds of facilities to be erected for the admission of COVID patients. One is COVID Care Center, that is CCC, then dedicated COVID Health Center, and the dedicated COVID hospital, that is DCH. So at individual level or at self level, what planning we need to do? Preparedness at self level is very important. And I think after eminent speakers, Dr. Akulkar, Dr. Bahadne sir, Dr. Shirsat madam, and Dr. Patare sir's lectures, we are full of knowledge. There is no doubt that all pediatricians of IIP Nagar are full of skill. Most important is now we have to have a positive attitude. So knowledge, skill, and attitude will help you to form a good strategy. And basically, what I will advise is, as far as treating of COVID patient is concerned, we have to do a teamwork. That's very important. So if we can erect DCHC or a CCC type of, or maybe COVID dedicated hospitals, then it's a need of today's hour to come together and formulate something that will take care of so many things where we have to handle during the pandemic. So at individual level, I think it's a bit difficult. Then rebalance your resources. If you have got your own hospitals, then better you have to rebalance the sources. Like if you want to do COVID practice, then you have to divide your hospital into non-COVID part and COVID part, like that. So rebalancing the resources is very important. Then before starting things, we have to sensitize our staff. It may be a nursing staff, paramedical staff, or the supporting staff. We have to sensitize them. We have to tell them that we are going to start one. Then statutory permissions are very much required for starting COVID hospitals. We have to take permissions from civil surgeon or collector, or at taluka level, we have to take permissions from our MO of the rural hospital or prant and tahsildars. Then we have to have different protocols in our hand. I think Sachin has discussed them in details, but these are the things which we need to know, that what are the sample collection protocols, what are the testing protocols, which test to be used, whether rapid antigen test or RT-PCR to be used, when to do CT chest. All these protocols you should know. And you can use, as Sachin has rightly said, you can use IIP protocols or WHO protocols or AIMS protocols. Then you should know what are the isolation protocols once the patient comes positive. Then treatment protocols. There are various treatment protocols already our eminent speakers have discussed. Then PPE using protocols. Then BMW protocols. And finally, the vaccine protocols. So you have to have in hand all these protocols available so that nothing goes wrong. Then before starting something, we have to face ourselves mentally we have to know that we are going to face some challenges. So you have to make arrangements for them. So what are the challenges we may face during COVID managements? These could be classified as immediate challenges and long-term challenges. Immediate challenges are, of course, health challenges of the doctors which are involved in the treatment of COVID patients. So safety of doctors and other healthcare workers like our staffs, our nurses, our paramedical staff is very important. Then safety of patients and visitors which are coming to our hospital, their health safety is also important. Then administrative challenges at the level of facility management services, at the level of human resource management services, and at the level of care of the patient. Then long-term challenges we may face like financial burdens, then mental and emotional issues for healthcare worker and their families, then changing patient-doctor relationship. Nowadays, we are hearing so many things. At IMA platform, we are daily hearing some attacks on the hospitals and patient having confrontation with the doctors and staff. So that changing doctor-patient relationship, we have to take into account while starting the
You
COVID.
doesn't have any slides, na?
Hello?
You are not showing any slides.
I have shared the screen.
No.
You are not able to see it?
No, not a single slide.
Oh, I have actually started with sharing my slides. Just a minute.
It is not visible initially, sir, but suddenly it has disappeared.
Okay, initially it was there.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I'll try. Just a minute.
अब आता है किधर जैसे बोले मुझे डिस्टेंस प्लान करे बोले हाँ ठीक है काय एक लोक म्हणतो काय प्रॉब्लेम नाही दिवसभर दिले ना आपण त्याला 12 थेरपीसाठी ते कमीच आहे पण आपलं रिबाउंड होऊ नये म्हणून आपण दिले त्याला बाकी काही नाही म्हणजे परत मला वाटलं की उद्या सकाळपर्यंत ठेवलं तर कुठे होईल माझं काही पण आज काही इट्स नॉट टू हेल्प मच दिवसभर दिले की आपण त्याला परत असं नको व्हायला म्हणजे आपण घरी गेलं तर परत नाही वेळ पण नाही वाटत की नाही
सो
तुम्हाला काय अडचण जायला अडचण वगैरे असेल काय तर यू कॅन स्टे आणि बाळाला कुठेतरी आपण देऊ शकतो काही विषय जायला काही अडचण नाही तसं फक्त माझं मत
can you see the slides now?
Yes, now we can see.
Yeah. So I just told you that we have to classify the challenges that we are going to face in future, like immediate challenges and long-term challenges. So changing patient-doctor relationship we have to concentrate on. And social issues are also important when we are dealing with the COVID hospitals. Then planning safety of healthcare worker is very important. For that, we have to educate them about hand washing, alcohol-based sanitizer use, then use of mask, social distancing, cough etiquettes, use of PPA, donning and doffing of PPA, biomedical waste management, and disinfection of our premises. So that's very important before starting our facilities. Testing, isolation, and care of family members of the healthcare workers working with us is also another important thing. Then administrative planning, we have to ensure that there is adequate patient to staff ratio. Then provision of adequate training for staff is essential. Monitoring the compliance of staff with standard precautions is also very important. There should be someone who will monitor all these things. Then providing mechanisms for improvement as needed is also important. So we have to do a lot of administrative work. Then human resource planning, we have to give the duties by rotation. Formation of teams will be useful. You can have two different teams working. So one team can get rest after few days of or hours of working. Then we should have a backup ready to cover our ill staff. Then we'll have to educate everyone about nutritious food, rest and exercise. That's important because after doing COVID tests, they get literally exhausted. Then allow non-essential just a minute. Then allow non-essential staff can work from home, like our billing staff or accountant can work from home. So they will not get exposed to COVID situations. Then establishing a surveillance process for acute respiratory infections among staff is essential. Ensure that they understand the importance of promptly seeking medical advice because you cannot afford a staff getting.
Can you increase your voice?
Yeah.
Please increase your voice.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
So we have to ensure that they understand the importance of prompt seeking medical advice. Then human resource planning, we already discussed. Safety of patients and visitors, which will be coming to our COVID hospital, is also another important thing. So at arrival of hospital, we have to call the patients by appointments only, so that there will be no overcrowding. Then when we are giving appointment, our receptionist should tell them about how to arrive at clinic. Then they should be specifically told that you should carry 2 masks, and they should be asked to tell the history of travel, fever, contact history before coming to the hospital, so that we can make different arrangements for those who are having fever and those who are just accompanying the patients. Then keep OPD patients address and contact number. That's very essential, because we have to notify the government at each and every level. Then minimize the visitors. That's very important to avoid the overcrowding and getting infection. So as someone has told that any baby more than 2 months should be having mask. Inside the waiting room, you can make arrangements for social distancing in waiting area. Cough etiquette should be taught. There should be someone who will look after all these things. Then keep separators to avoid touching the reception counters. Then triaging the patients. Like if you are running both facilities, COVID and non-COVID together, then you have to provide separate waiting area for 2 different facilities. And of course, at entry, we should have a facility for hand washing, sanitizer dispenser. Then we'll have to keep one person who will ensure that everyone entering the facility wears the mask. Then thermal screening is also important. History of fever ailments to be noted by some sister at the entrance. At IPD level, we'll have to plan according to what kind of level, COVID care we are going to provide. So we can have PICU beds, then oxygen beds, and the non-oxygen beds. So proportion of all these we'll have to decide before starting things. And since pediatric patient is not of same age, all patients are not like adults. So we have to give consideration that patients, NICU patients will of course be different, but from 1 month onwards to 5-year-old children, they will be accompanied by mother. So we'll have to make separate arrangements for accommodation of mothers also with them. They cannot stay without mother. From 6 to 10-year-old child, they can stay with some male guardian. So we can make arrangement accordingly. And about 10 years, of course, we'll have to make separate arrangements for female patients and male patients. They can stay alone in the hospital. So we have to give consideration of all these age groups. Then IPD management, it's essential that every patient admitted should be notified to the government services. His RT-PCR report, his age, everything, all details should be notified to the government agencies. Then we will have to make sure that there is enough oxygen supply. Last month, we saw that there was a problem regarding oxygen supply, and we had a confrontation with government agencies, and IMA and government agencies had a lot of problems. So now, hopefully, this problem is getting solved. Then drug supply, though remdesivir is not usually required, so it's not a big headache for us, but sometimes it may be required. So selected cases, remdesivir availability is very important. Then IVIG sometimes is required for MISC patients. So availability of IVIG, steroids, all other things should be made, and your inventory should be full of that. Then instruments maintenance is important thing. Nowadays, we have come across some complaints from our members of IMA that instrument maintenance agencies are charging 3-4 times more. And here on other side, government has capped our bills. So we have to, now IMA has also gone to government agencies to cap the maintenance costs also under some level, so that we'll afford to give take care of our instruments. Then discharge and follow-up is also important. There should be someone involved in the discharge process, because follow-up is very important. You'll have to educate patient regarding all, patient or his guardian regarding all the things which are required when they are at home, and when should they come for follow-up, and what are the red flag signs. Then record keeping is also important. Preferably with digital record keeping is essential, because that record can be asked by the government agencies at any point of time. So that was regarding care at our individual level. So at government level, we have to also make sure that we should have a good liaison with government authorities. So at your district level, at Ahmednagar, you have to have liaison with your civil surgeon, then pediatrician attached to the civil hospital, then the collector and his staff, and we'll have to have a good liaison with government agencies when you are running a COVID healthcare center. Then secondly, you have to update with changing government guidelines. That guidelines are a big headache. Sometimes government asks that every patient should be isolated at home. Isolation may be required. Sometimes nowadays government has taken U-turn and government is asking for total institutional isolation. So government guidelines are changing like anything. So you have to keep pace with all the guidelines. It's very important. Otherwise, you may come into the confrontation situation with government agencies. So someone has to be alert and dealing with the government guidelines. You have to draw the line. When you are dealing with the government authorities, you have to always show that you are a doctor and you are not just a person working under them. So you have to always raise your questions, your doubts when some guideline comes. So through IMA, so that's why you should be in touch with IMA. Our IIP is also very active. So we should be having good liaison with government agencies. All our two bodies, IMAs and IIPs, should be having good liaison with our government agencies. That's very essential. Then audits is a big headache nowadays started. Government is asking for electrical audit of DCSC, fire audit differently. Then oxygen usage audits. All hospitals in Srirampur are just now, since last week, are undergoing this oxygen usage audit. Then remdesivir usage audit, then bill audit. All these things are a big headache. And plus you will come across some social worker or some MLA or some MP coming across and asking for reduction in the bills, and all these things you have to be ready to face. That's very important when you are raising some COVID related facility. And lastly, we'll have to deal at the same time at our hospital level, at government level, and finally we'll have to deal at the level of society. So we'll have to have a good parental education and patient education. If, of course, the child is more than 10-year-old. So how to take care at home, what are the precautions to be taken after discharge, home isolation, then how to wash the hands, how to take care of your social distancing, use of mask. All these things should be repeatedly told them so that they will not be confused, and the crystal clear guidelines should be given to them. Then social workers education is another important thing that we are going to do through our COVID task for this third probable likely wave of pediatrics. So we'll have to educate the Anganwadi workers regarding the red signal, red flag signs in pediatricians, like what should be the different age appropriate respiratory rates, what should be the saturations, how to take saturations, because they are now used to handle all the adults, and they will have to make them sure that they know about pediatrics also, because they are the important workers when we are dealing with the pandemic, especially in rural setups. Then preventive, Dr. Pratap has talked about in detail about vaccines, and in few months we are expecting vaccines in pediatric setup also, and we'll have to deal with these again when the government guidelines will come. So preventive aspect, we have to be in touch, and we'll have to always be having guidelines. Then media management is another important thing, because many things come nowadays on WhatsApp, Facebook, some good points, some wrong points, some unnecessary things like some Ayurvedic medicines and kada, and do something like taking vapors. All these things will have to counter through the media, through our bodies, IMA and IIP. That's very important, because otherwise our pediatric patients are very vulnerable, and if we don't counter these misbeliefs, then there will be a very bad outcome in pediatric setups. Then emotional support, of course, to the family if they unfortunately have
last 2 minutes.
encountering the, yeah, this is the last slide. If they unfortunately encounter some bad news or bad thing with their child. And finally, use of telemedicine is very important after discharging the child, and also during managing the mild cases at home. So use of telemedicine is something we have to learn. This is what we are distributing. This is our social efforts at by Indian Medical Association Srirampur. We have distributed almost 200 such posters to all PHCs, RH, and all government hospitals. these posters regarding mucormycosis. So that kind of social things we have to go on doing when the time arrives. So thank you. And I am thankful for President Dr. Sagar Wagh and Secretary for giving me opportunity to talk on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bhushan, for very important deliberation regarding actually we should forward all this to government also. I think Sagar will take decision regarding that, and that was very essential to know how to guide the government regarding on every aspect or every step, which is very important.